Did you know that the strength in your legs isn't merely tied to aging? Many seniors think that weak legs, trouble with walking, or muscle discomfort are just inevitable signs of growing older. But in reality, your diet has a far greater influence than you might imagine. Every step you make, every instant you remain standing, and every occasion you ascend a set of stairs relies on the power of your muscles, bones, and joints. The foods you consume can either sustain and safeguard your legs or quietly erode them as time goes on. Sadly, numerous seniors unwittingly eat items that harm their muscles, hinder circulation, and diminish their bones, rendering mobility tougher year by year. The encouraging part is that you possess the ability to alter this. You're never too advanced in age to adopt better habits. By steering clear of the unsuitable foods and welcoming the beneficial ones, you can restore your strength, ease your pain, and maintain robust legs for many years ahead. So, which items are covertly stealing your mobility? Here are 5 everyday foods that undermine leg strength, plus what to choose in their place. 1. Processed sugar, the silent muscle killer. There's a certain comfort in a touch of sweetness. A spoonful of sugar stirred into your morning coffee, a slice of cake during a family get-together, or even that customary reach for a cookie following dinner. It seems innocuous, almost like a minor treat after a demanding day. But suppose I revealed that this routine indulgence is subtly sapping the vigor from your legs. Numerous seniors face muscle frailty, joint discomfort, and an intensifying fatigue, unaware that sugar contributes significantly to their fading mobility. You might presume those sore legs and rigidity are merely aspects of advancing years, yet research indicates differently. Too much sugar in your eating habits is gradually enfeebling your muscles, complicating efforts to remain active, and even heightening your chances of grave mobility problems. When you ingest sugar, be it through desserts, sodas, pastries, or concealed sugars in ready-made foods, your body undergoes a swift elevation in blood sugar. Initially, this might leave you feeling invigorated, but the boost is fleeting. The abrupt surge is soon chased by a plunge, rendering you tired, lethargic, and feeble. In the long run, this rhythm disrupts your system's capacity to manage energy, turning basic actions into draining ordeals. But the harm extends beyond mere energy swings. Excess sugar promotes chronic inflammation, one of the primary offenders in joint aches and muscle debility. When your body stays in a state of ongoing inflammation, your joints turn rigid, bloated, and sore, particularly in load-bearing spots like your knees and hips. Inflammation likewise impacts muscle fibers, rendering them less pliant and more susceptible to injury. This explains why countless seniors deal with ongoing leg soreness or a sense of weightiness, even absent any clear wound. And then consider insulin resistance. As we get older, our body's reaction to insulin naturally diminishes, but a diet rich in sugar hastens this drop. Once insulin resistance takes hold, your muscles cease taking in vital nutrients such as protein and amino acids, the core elements required to remain sturdy. Lacking adequate sustenance, muscles start to atrophy and falter. That's why those seniors with elevated sugar consumption tend to shed muscle mass at a faster rate, complicating balance and mobility upkeep. Past muscles and joints, sugar is also pilfering the fortitude from your bones. Most folks overlook how sugar hampers calcium uptake, resulting in frailer, more fragile bones. With time, this raises fracture risks, which prove catastrophic for seniors. A straightforward tumble that formerly might have caused just a slight contusion could now yield a major harm impacting your self-reliance. So, what steps can you take? The solution isn't to banish all sweetness from your existence, but to select wiser options. Rather than white sugar, pick natural substitutes like honey, dates, or coconut sugar, which exert a milder effect on blood sugar. Fresh fruits can quench your craving for sweets while delivering fiber, antioxidants, and key vitamins that shield your muscles and bones. Should urges arise, go for dark chocolate, nuts, or a modest portion of yogurt topped with berries, over refined confections that supply only vacant calories. And above all, remain vigilant about concealed sugars. Plenty of packaged items promoted as healthful brim with sugar. Yogurts, granola bars, salad dressings, and even breads might harbor substantial added sugars that undermine your well-being. Consistently review labels and target whole, unrefined foods that furnish enduring energy and sustenance. The decisions you render today will shape how fluidly you navigate tomorrow. Sugar might appear as a trivial treat, but gradually it is filching your capacity to walk, stand, and dwell autonomously. Refuse to let such an avoidable element govern your tomorrow. Seize command now, ensuring your legs stay solid, stable, and proficient for years onward. 2. Deep-fried and fast foods, the hidden enemy of your joints. There's an undeniable appeal in the crunch of a golden brown French fry, the crisp exterior of fried chicken, or the cozy warmth of a deep-fried treat. These items feel recognizable, straightforward, and frequently linked to recollections of family events, celebrations, or even casual indulgences. Yet while they might gratify your palate, they are discreetly enervating your legs, rigidifying your joints, and complicating motion as each year unfolds. Countless seniors regard their decelerating mobility, sore knees, and leg heaviness as mere inescapable outcomes of aging. However, the fact remains that your intake holds equal weight to the accumulating years. Deep-fried and fast foods rank among the most injurious selections for your muscles, joints, and circulation. 3 vital pillars of leg power. Upon eating fried foods, you subject your body to detrimental trans fats, among the most inflammatory elements in today's eating patterns. These fats go beyond mere weight accumulation. They incite broad inflammation, especially in the joints. Persistent inflammation acts as a covert demolisher, sparking rigidity, bloating, and soreness that render walking, standing, or stair climbing more arduous. Gradually, the harm builds, yielding softened cartilage and elevated arthritis odds, a plight striking millions of seniors and markedly curtailing mobility. Yet the detriment persists further. Fried and fast foods impede blood flow, barring your muscles from gaining the oxygen and nutrients essential for vitality. Subpar circulation sparks leg spasms, ongoing weariness, and a ponderous, torpid sensation that turns brief strolls into ordeals. For seniors, upholding solid circulation proves crucial, not solely for muscle operation, but also to avert grave concerns like deep vein thrombosis, DVT, and peripheral artery disease, PAD, both capable of spawning hazardous clots and diminished mobility. A further key worry involves how these foods spur swift weight increase, which bears straight on your legs. The greater the load you bear, the heavier the burden on your knees, ankles, and hips. For each additional pound of body weight, your knees endure 4 extra pounds of force, rendering motion progressively tougher and more aching. This accounts for why many seniors indulging often in fried foods grapple with joint soreness, unsteadiness, and heightened fall risks. The surplus weight hastens cartilage erosion, the padding for your joints. Once depleted, motion turns not just sore, but potentially incapacitating. But maybe the most neglected fallout from fried and processed foods concerns bone vitality. These items disrupt your system's knack for absorbing key minerals like calcium and magnesium, indispensable for robust bones. Eventually, this fosters lowered bone density, heightening fracture likelihood, a grave peril for seniors as hip breaks top the causes of autonomy loss in elders. One slip could overhaul your routine, transforming routine tasks into anguished trials. The uplifting message is that you can assume command prior to it being too tardy. Rather than depending on fried fare, select superior preparation techniques like baking, grilling, or steaming. Swap refined oils for salubrious fats such as olive oil or avocado oil, which bolster joint welfare instead of ravaging it. When yearnings emerge, select nuts, roasted chickpeas, or self-made bites that deliver sustenance over inflammation. During outings, favor grilled or steamed dishes over deep-fried ones. Minor adjustments accumulate, and the diligence you invest in your eating now will repay with firmer legs, enhanced mobility, and amplified self-reliance in coming years. What you ingest wields the might to mend or mar, to fortify or enfeeble. The selection rests with you. Let nourishment serve as a wellspring of vigor and fluidity, not distress and constraint. Next time you ponder grabbing a fried morsel, query yourself. Is it worth forfeiting your leg potency? For that reply could dictate how adeptly you stride, shift, and thrive in forthcoming years. 3. Processed meats, destroying muscle strength bite by bite. For numerous, processed meats form a handy and customary element of routine repasts. A swift ham and cheese sandwich at midday, bacon crackling on the burner come morning, or a hot dog amid a summer barbecue. These dishes have interlaced into habits and customs over years. But what the majority fails to grasp is that beneath their ease and zest, processed meats are tacitly enervating the muscles that sustain your motion. As you advance in years, upholding sturdy, operative muscles stands as pivotal to upholding your fluidity and autonomy. Yet the very edibles meant to energize your form might instead be siphoning your vigor. Processed meats, like bacon, sausage, ham, deli cuts, and hot dogs, brim with conservers, sodium, and noxious extras that incrementally erode your body's proficiency to navigate smoothly. Among the gravest facets of processed meats lies their elevated sodium levels. Sodium in surplus quantities sparks fluid holding and bloating, which can render your legs sensing ponderous, rigid, and inert. Across time, this unrelenting pressure on your frame enfeebles the muscles, complicating prolonged standing or discomfort-free strolling. Seniors on sodium-heavy regimens frequently observe amplified muscle twitches, joint aches, and even leg numbness, all amplifying the challenge of daily motions beyond necessity. Past fluid buildup, processed meats further stoke inflammation, a veiled yet potent driver in muscle and joint decay. The conservers and nitrates in processed meats ignite persistent inflammation, which covertly impairs muscle fabric, rendering it feebler over duration. Inflammation likewise strikes your joints, yielding rigidity and unease that transform modest duties like stair ascent or chair rising into ordeals. Worse yet, inflammation's amassed impacts don't merely hinder you presently. They hasten enduring muscle depletion, complicating fluidity as years advance. A further grave ramification of habitual processed meat intake is subpar nutrient uptake. Your muscles demand premium protein, iron, and vital vitamins to persist sturdy and supple. But the chemically infused essence of processed meats hampers your body's adeptness at assimilating these critical elements. Rather than sustaining your muscles, these edibles abandon them famished for requisite aid, yielding incremental muscle enfeeblement that grows evident over time. Should you aim to safeguard your potency and shield your legs from undue tension, it's moment to supplant processed meats with salubrious, nutrient-packed substitutes. Select fresh, unrefined meats such as grilled chicken, turkey, or fish, which yield pure protein absent noxious extras. Integrate plant-derived proteins like beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds, brimming with key nutrients that back muscle welfare. If sandwiches appeal, choose newly prepared meats over shop deli portions, and combine them with intact grains and produce for an equilibrated repast. The eating selections you enact daily bear straight on your prowess to navigate, stride, and dwell self-sufficiently. Processed meats might prove expedient, but they exact a steeper toll: your vigor. Transitioning to superior choices presently signifies firmer legs, amplified fluidity, and the liberty to persist dynamic for years ahead. The verdict is yours, and your later self will express gratitude for the apt one. 4. High-sodium foods, draining strength from your legs. Salt has endured as a staple in each repast, dashed atop eggs at dawn, blended into evening soups, and tucked away in refined edibles that ease existence somewhat. But imagine if this unassuming staple, so modest and routine, were truly countering you. Imagine if the precise element enhancing your meal's savor were tacitly siphoning the potency from your legs, complicating motion year upon year. Numerous seniors endure leg ponderousness, bloating, and muscle frailty, presuming it's merely a standard facet of maturation. Yet truthfully, surplus sodium in one's regimen stands as a prime instigator of these woes. It's beyond mere elevated blood pressure or cardiac concerns. Overabundant salt strikes straight at your aptitude to stride, stand, and navigate effortlessly. Among the chief perils of a sodium-laden diet is fluid retention. With excess sodium circulating in the bloodstream, the body clings to superfluous liquid, inciting bloating in legs and feet. If your legs have ever sensed anomalously weighted, your ankles inflated, or your footwear snugger than typical, this stems likely from your system wrestling with surplus salt. Bloating renders each shift more laborious, decelerating you and transforming erstwhile easy pursuits, strolling, ascending stairs, enduring stands, or chair egress, into wearying endeavors. But sodium's toll halts not at bloating. Overmuch salt further enfeebles circulation, starving your muscles of requisite oxygen and nutrients for sturdiness. Apt blood flux proves indispensable for sustaining your legs vivified and reactive. Yet profuse sodium constricts vessels, elevates pressure, and curtails nutrient conveyance efficacy. Eventually, this yields weariness, lessened stamina, and muscle debility, turning even concise ambles into trials. Potentially more alarming remains the covert harm sodium inflicts on your bones. Many overlook how excess salt extracts calcium from the frame, enfeebling bones and amplifying fracture perils. For seniors, this poses a dire menace. Delicate bones imply a mere stumble might spawn a tumble, lesion, or even autonomy forfeiture. You might sense no instant repercussions, but daily, annually, surplus salt erodes your skeletal potency. And still, sodium lurks ubiquitously, not solely in the shaker, but concealed in refined edibles, tinned soups, chilled repasts, deli cuts, sauces, and eatery fare. Many ingest far more salt than cognized, merely because it's infused into countless items sans their awareness. But optimism endures. Curbing sodium needn't forfeit savor. It entails shrewder picks. Rather than refined edibles, embrace fresh, intact components. Employ herbs, spices, and innate flavorings to infuse zest sans added salt. Supplant standard table salt with Himalayan pink or sea variants, harboring trace minerals that aid holistic welfare. And crucially, heed veiled sodium in bagged provisions. Perusing labels and favoring reduced sodium stand-ins can vastly alter your sensations. Your leg's potency derives not solely from chronology. It's molded by your daily enactments. Trimming sodium ranks as one of the easiest yet mightiest means to lessen bloating, enhance flux, fortify bones, and sustain your leg's fluid motion. It's a modest shift yielding a sturdier, more self-reliant tomorrow, one of effortless, assured, vital navigation. 5. White bread and refined carbs, robbing your muscles of strength. For decades, white bread, pasta, and fellow refined carbohydrates have offered a soothing fixture at the evening board. A toasty slice come morn, a midday sandwich, or an eve pasta basin. It all appears so routine, so mundane. But suppose these precise edibles, the ones you've savored for years sans further musing, were tacitly siphoning your potency, enfeebling your muscles, and complicating your easeful shifts. Countless seniors deem the creeping mobility forfeiture, leg ponderousness, and escalating stroll challenges as innate maturation facets. Though chronology contributes, what eludes most is how their routine eating picks hasten this downturn. White bread, refined pasta, pastries, and kindred refined carbohydrates might savor gratifying momentarily, but within your frame, they proffer scant sustenance while actively opposing your muscle potency. The issue with refined carbohydrates commences with their refinement. Unlike intact grains harboring fiber, vitamins, and minerals, refined grains get divested of innate nutrients, bequeathing mere vacant calories. Upon consuming a white bread slice or pasta dish, your body hastens its conversion to sugar, sparking a brisk blood sugar ascent. Though this grants a brief vigor surge, it's invariably trailed by a steep descent, leaving you wearied, torpid, and frail. Across time, this blood sugar oscillation cycle exacts a levy on your muscles, curtailing endurance and rendering daily shifts more laborious. But the detriment extends onward. Profuse refined carb intake further stokes persistent inflammation, one of mobility and muscle welfare's chief adversaries. Inflammation rigidifies joints, enfeebles muscles, and burdens the frame unduly. If you've grappled with leg aches, steadfast fatigue, or stair ascent woes, your regimen might exert a larger sway than presumed. Unlike intact grains that quell inflammation and back muscle mending, refined carbs invert this. They nourish inflammation, complicating muscle and joint function. Among refined carbohydrates' direst enduring repercussions is their sway on muscle depletion. As years mount, sustaining muscle volume grows ever vital for fluidity, poise, and autonomy. Yet with routine refined carb exposures sans apt nourishment, muscles forego requisite protein and amino acids for sturdiness. Instead, they commence shrinking, rendering erstwhile simple motions, chair egress, extended ambles, grocery toting, abruptly arduous. The downturn creeps subtly, oft undetected till commonplace duties turn unforeseen hurdles. The uplifting tidings. Alteration remains viable at any juncture. Favoring intact, unrefined carbohydrates over refined variants can markedly shift your potency, vigor tiers, and holistic fluidity. Rather than white bread, select whole or sprouted grain loaves, furnishing fiber and nutrients backing muscle welfare. Exchange refined pasta for quinoa, brown rice, or whole wheat sorts, proffering gradual energy sans baneful blood sugar leaps. Integrate fiber-laden produce and slender proteins to sustain your frame fueled and muscles sturdy. Your legs form your fluidity's bedrock, and their sustenance dictates your carriage through ensuing years. You needn't resign to muscle debility as maturation's surety. Through astute picks now, you can uphold potency, guard autonomy, and persist assured in motion for years ahead. Each repast affords a chance to sustain your frame or deplete it. The selection is yours. Final thoughts. Your legs, your future. Your legs have borne you across a lifespan of encounters. They've braced you amid protracted workdays, ambled beside kin, and permitted unbound travel, discovery, and existence. But with mounting years, you might sense them waning, feebler, tardier, and less steadfast. Many resign to this as maturation's surety. Yet truthfully, your fluidity derives not merely from duration, it's forged by your everyday enactments. The edibles you plate wield vast sway over your welfare's morrow. They can sustain and brace your muscles, bones, and joints, or incrementally divest your easeful motion. The leg potency ebb afflicting myriad seniors stems not solely from senescence. Oft it's years of ingesting items stoking inflammation, enfeebling muscles, and siphoning vital nutrients. But the heartening facet, irrespective of your path stage, you can redirect your welfare's trajectory. Envision arising each dawn assured in pain-free, struggle-free motion. Envision stair ascent, sans pause, kin strolls, sans halts, and upright stance, sans encumbering unease. These aren't remote reveries, they're attainable prospects, yet they demand deed, commencing with your eating selections. If you've devoted years to sugar-laden, trans-fat-rich, sodium-heavy, additive-packed edibles, you might already sense repercussions. Legs weightier than erstwhile, recurrent aches, twitches, or bloating. Perhaps you evade pursuits deeming them overly taxing, overly draining. These skirmishes seem minor initially, but cumulatively they can spawn autonomy loss none crave, the prowess for unbound striding, sturdy stance, fall-fearless shifts. These are boons many presume till absent, but it needn't unfold thus. Through modest, deliberate regimen tweaks, you can invert the harm. By favoring intact, unrefined edibles, emphasizing slender proteins, salubrious fats, and nutrient-brimming repasts, you equip your frame to reconstruct potency, reinstate suppleness, and shield legs from added downturn. It's not flawlessness, it's superior picks, repast by repast. Your legs have braced a lifetime's recollections, and they can propel you onward. But nurturing them's duty lies in your grasp. Will you permit subpar eating to filch your potency, or seize your morrow's reins? Today's verdict will gauge if you linger dynamic and self-reliant, or lean on aid for humblest shifts. Elect welfare, elect potency, elect a morrow of sustained striding, motion, and term-defined living. For your legs are your base, meriting sturdiness. These insights aim to rouse you toward full, genuine living. Now, I'd relish your input. Pause to muse, then share one insight gleaned and slated for your life. Let's bolster one another on this path to these verities' embrace. If this video pleased you, drop a comment with one. If not, feel welcome to note 0. Your input holds great worth to us. Recall to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for akin fare. Thanks for viewing, and cheers to term-defined living.